Ben, I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I've ever done this before, but I'm sure you have, right? With regards to remote access somewhere else. But we're loud and proud, and of course, Benny versus the Penny is coming to you at a Starbucks near you.
Yeah, I'm excited about this guest gun because this has the hostage style vibe to it. The hostage style vibe. And who knows how good the internet quality is at a random Starbucks location. So the quality might be problematic, but it is Benny versus the Penny. And they say in show business, the show must go on.
That's right.
The show must go on. So the show is here. We're going to pick every NFL game against the spread. And you don't have all your fancy graphics. Is that correct, Gascon? You don't have everything because you're at a Starbucks. So you're.
No, that's no, what
I
are you
like that you
talking
have
about? Like,
mask. What?
we could take a peek. We could take. You did well for
A
the
lot of
week,
green
huh?
right there.
It's a good job by you, dude. It's
Well, thank you. That's
encouraged.
10-6. 10-6 against the spread. But notice right hand of the screen there. Win, 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 win.
It's a little nauseous. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I was 2-0 in my 5. And I've already gotten off to the 1-0 start thanks to Jacksonville getting 7 and the hook. 7 and the hook for Jacksonville in the game last night. So beat up the Penny. And 2 good weeks, 1 crappy week, and we'll head into week 4 kicking the tail, as you see right there, of the Penny.
Yeah,
2 full games in the league.
it's a lot better than what we saw a week ago. So it's a good sign for you, and we get to do this. As some of the guys said, we're doing it from Baghdad right now.
Yes, that is right. It definitely has that feel, and this will be great for the guys in the chats. Dan says Gascon live from Afghanistan. Jonathan I think Jonathan in Delaware, if I remember correctly, he says this is a disaster. Dan pointing out that this is a train wreck. All that's missing is a banner with Arabic writing in the background. So he's going. They're all saying the same thing here, Gascon. So this is very exciting. This will add another chapter now. I'll try. I don't know if anybody can you hear the picks. I'm going to give out the picks. Will anyone be able to hear the picks? Will anyone be able to hear the picks?
Well, the good thing is that it's at least live and on demand, so we can do anything we want in post production. Yeah.
All right.
Just Josh, Betty the Petty going to Al Jazeera. That's good.
Yeah. Well, hey, why not? All right. Let's get into it here. Week number 4. A couple of notes before we get started on week 4 of the NFL. Teams that have scored 30 or more points are 24-4 this season. So an .857 winning percentage, just straight up. Home teams. And this was heading into last night, so it's obviously a little different now because the Bengals were at home and they won. But home teams over the first 3 weeks of the NFL season, 24-24. And if you had just blindly bet underdogs with no handicapping and nothing, underdogs this season through 3 weeks, 30-18 against the spread. That's a 62% win clip, 62.5%. So a couple of early trends in the NFL season, but we begin with Washington at Atlanta. It's on Fox. You better watch. Kevin Kugler and Mark Sanchez have the call. And Washington 1-2, Atlanta 1-2, bunch of 1-2 teams in the NFL. The weather not a factor. This is at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, a dome in Georgia. I'm taking the Washington Redskins, as I used to call them back when I was a kid. Washington's a 1-point favorite in this game, and I am taking Washington. The team formerly known as the Redskins absolutely poleaxed by the Buffalo Bills last weekend. Now, the good news is you're never as bad as your last game. Ron Rivera's team has to get that taste out of their mouth here. They have been bludgeoned on defense. I'm not sure what's going on there in Washington. This was supposed to be a top 10 defensive team in the NFL. They head into week 4 ranked 31st in defense. Only Seattle has been worse in total defense than Washington. And now, even on offense, Ron Rivera is dumbing down the playbook even more. He wants Taylor Heineke to be a game manager. On the other side, the Falcons, they got the win, compliments of the Giants' incompetence last week. But I am more confident in Washington than I am in Atlanta. And also, the Falcons are flying to London immediately after this game. They're going overseas for the first time since the pandemic began. The NFL next week will have the Falcons and the Jets from jolly old London. So I always try to avoid, if possible, betting on teams before they have a intercontinental flight. We'll take the Washington football team, 27, Atlanta, 24.
Penny's got Washington in this one. 5-1 in the month of October against the spread in their last 6 games.
Yeah, but that's in the years past, not this year. Can you tell the person backing up, yes, John, that we're on the air here? Can you tell them that, please? The person backing up the dump truck that's beeping, how dare them?
I need a refill on my espresso, right?
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Can you give me a lemon cake? I like that lemon cake they have at Starbucks. All right.
Lemon cake is kind of clutch.
It is good, but the problem that Starbucks does with the lemon cake is they don't put the frosting all the way around.
I know. Yeah.
So it's only on the top. It would be so much better if they put the frosting completely around. And no, I don't drink coffee. I have been to Starbucks because the wife loves Starbucks. Loves Starbucks. All right. Next up,
the Holloway season.
Yeah, exactly. Detroit 0-3 at Chicago 1-2. It's on Fox. Gus Johnson and Aqib Talib have the call on this. The Bears originally were a 5-point favorite. The Bears are a 3-point favorite now. I'm actually taking Chicago, and I don't even know who the quarterback of the Bears is going to be. And I'm taking the Chicago Bears here, and I'm betting against Detroit this week. Detroit, well, they have shown some fight. They are a bad football team. They've got a bunch of injuries now. That only gets you so far when you can scratch and claw. This is not a week I like the Lions. I'm sure I will bet on the Lions again. This is not one of those weeks. I had the Lions last week against Baltimore. The hard luck loss. They got screwed by the referees. But this is a opportunity to bet against Jared Goff. Now, fortunately for the Lions, the weather in Chicago is not going to be all that bad. But Jared Goff has been as bad as advertised. He's 36th in intended air yards at 5.8 yards per attempt. 36 in the NFL. It's dink and dunk and all that. And so I have seen Jared Goff go against top-level defensive players, and he ends up pooping the bed more times than not. And I'm looking at Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks and some of those other guys on the Bears defense that will cause Jared Goff to urinate down his leg in this game. And another reason to like the other side here, the Bears, is because the public is loading up on the Lions. And the Bears are not as bad as they played against the Cleveland Browns last week. And I am confident that it's going to be either Andy Dalton or Nick Foles, that Fields will not be out there. And we'll find out kickoff. But it doesn't matter. Even if Chicago originally was favored by many more points, you're getting some value here. Bears 23, Lions 16, the final. And the penny will pick.
Penny is going with the Chicago Bears. Detroit won 3-1 the last 5 against the spread in this heads-up matchup.
All right. Dan says lemon cake west of the 405, he says. Dan also pointing out that Jim McMahon is not walking through that door, as I keep an eye on the chat. The late-night drug tester says the Bears will run the triple option, all 3 quarterbacks. behind center. All right, next up, Tennessee 2-1, and the New York Jets 0-3. It's on CBS with Greg Gumbel and Adam Archuleta. Now, the Titans opened a 7-point favorite. That line, last I checked, was 7. Temperatures in the 60s at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. And I am covering my eyes here and my mouth. I'm taking the Jets. I'm taking the Titans are going to be without Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, both out with injury. That tells you that the Titan coaching staff knows they don't have to have all their guys to win this game. That attitude will be prevalent. Like, if I have a feeling if this was a bigger game, a key game for Tennessee, that one of those guys at least would be playing. But since this is a game Tennessee can just show up, make sure the bus arrives on time, and get a win, that's not the case. These guys aren't playing. And the Jets, they're a bad football team. They're a 6-13 against the spread since the start of last season. That is the worst cover percentage in the NFL over that span. Zach Wilson, who was compared to Dan Marino, has been more like Nathan Peterman or Jamarcus Russell so far for the Jets. He is the worst quarterback in the NFL next to Trevor Lawrence. But I like the Jets this week because the Tennessee Titans do not have any receivers who are any good. It's a bunch of nobodies. And the Jets, their strength, if they have a strength on defense, it is in the middle. That defensive line of the Jets is pretty good. They've got some high drafted players, guys that have had success at stopping the run. So if you're able to box up Derrick Henry and force Ryan Tannehill to throw, Tannehill last week he made a few mistakes. Actually, I think it was the week before that he made a bunch of mistakes. And he's mistake prone at times without his top 2 receivers. And if the running game is not going as well as you would suspect, anytime you can get a touchdown with the team at home, even if it's a bad team, it's obviously going to be a bad team getting 7 points. So I am going to take the New York Jets to cover the spread here. Titans 24, Jets 20, the final.
Penny's not stupid. It's going with Tennessee. You know Tennessee is 2-8 against the spread in this matchup, last 10 games?
Yeah, but that goes back a long time.
It does. That means why would you be taking the Jets again? This is like Cincinnati last year.
No, but you're getting a touchdown, and Tennessee's without their top 2 receivers. Have you seen who's going to be the top receiver there for
Derrick Henry? Yes, Derrick Henry. Yes.
No. That's it. But the Jets, I'm telling you, the Jets have a pretty good defense in the middle, and Derrick Henry is not going to run wild in the middle. If you know, let me put it this way. We've all played football, right? Tendencies. Yeah. If you know what Tennessee is going to do offensively, you have to force them to do what they don't want to do.
Right.
And the Jets, they can force Ryan Tannehill to throw the football and then force mistakes. All right. By the way, just Josh says, who doesn't want to see the Jets go 0-17? I don't care if they go 0-17 as long as they cover the spread a few times. That's all I care. That's all I'm worried about.
Well, they didn't cover last week.
Camping Matt says the curse of the great Bambino. And Reverend Ray is here. Oh, Reverend Ray Green. I believe he's in Iowa or Colorado, one of those two. I think he moved.
What narrows it down? Up.
I haven't seen Roscoe the Parrot, though. I don't know what happened to Roscoe. All right. Next up, Cleveland at Minnesota. It's on CBS. Kevin Harlan, Trent Green have the call here. Now, the Browns opened a 2.5-point favorite. They are favored by 2.5 at this moment at U.S. Bank Stadium in the Twin Cities. And I'm going to take the Vikings here. Minnesota, the best bad team in the NFL. Best team with a losing record. Vikings have given not 1, but 2 wins away against Cincinnati and Arizona. And that offense against Seattle. Now, Seattle was a little shorthanded there last week when the injuries started piling up. But the Vikings offense was baby. They were humming down the field. And Kirk Cousins, don't look now, but the man who the NFL media is all upset with because he won't get the vaccine is the 4th-ranked quarterback in the NFL. We had a stat the other day on the overnight show that Cousins is the first time ever a quarterback has had the stat line he's had. I think he's 8 touchdowns or more, no interceptions, and his team has a losing record after the first 3 games. It's never happened before. And this is another opportunity for that Viking offense to prove they are legit. Cleveland comes in with the 3rd best defense. They absolutely blindfolded Justin Fields last week in that game with the 9 sacks. It was a combination of Fields not knowing what he was doing, the Bears' offensive line sucking, and the Browns being pretty good. But I am not overly impressed with Cleveland. I'm not. I mean, you don't get to pump your chest out beating the Bears or the Texans. And Davis Mills, who played quarterback in that game, he blows. And speaking of blowing, the Cleveland Browns blew a game at Arrowhead. So the Browns, the way I look at this game, they're going to need Baker Mayfield at some point to match up with Kirk Cousins, because you can't just win this game on the ground. I'd be very surprised if you can win this game on the ground if you're the Browns, as good as a running team as they are. Minnesota, if you look at since Mike Zimmer took over, if you had just blindly bet on the Vikings with the point spread at home, 35-21-1, that's a 62% win clip. And if you look at as a home underdog, that's a small line. It's not a big line here. The Browns favored by 2.5, Vikings 2.5-point underdogs. But against the spread, as a home dog, Mike Zimmer is 9-3 as coach of the Vikings. Minnesota wins this game outright. Browns drop to 2-2. Vikings 30. And Cleveland 27.
Those stats tell you what happened, not what's going to happen. Penny's going with Cleveland.
All right, and Mr. Luciano says I can take the Green Line transportation to the Super Bowl. Yeah, looking forward to that. Falcons go, whoever that is writes in, says, you seen any Sasquatch yet, Big Ben, in the North Woods? No, I have not seen Sasquatch, but I've not been looking. I don't go out much. All right, next up for us, Indianapolis 0-3 at Miami on CBS with Spiro Ditas and Jay Feely on the call. Now, this is, to me, the most difficult game to handicap this weekend because you've got injured players up the yin-yang, and you've got 2 teams that are not particularly good football teams here. Dolphins favored by the 1.5. It's going to be sunny in the 80s at kickoff at Hard Rock Stadium in South Florida. Indianapolis has lost to Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, and Ryan Tannehill, and now they get a much more favorable matchup. Jacoby Brissett, the former Colts quarterback, they know how bad he is. That's why he's not in Indianapolis anymore. And as bad as Jacoby Brissett is, and he is terrible, he's 34th in completed air yards, 4.4. I'm still taking the Dolphins here. The reason I am picking Miami is I believe Carson Wentz is going to play. He's got the bad ankles there. He's a little healthier than he was last week, but he was so limited. He's bad to start with. And now you add on to it that he has no ability to skate around. Indianapolis also, I'm looking at the injury report. There's a couple of linemen that are still tenuous in their position there. So I love betting on Brian Flores. I got a crazy cover last week in the loss to the Raiders, the overtime loss. But the Dolphins with Brian Flores coming off a straight-up loss, Brian Flores is 6-0 against the spread. I look for that to be 7-0. This will be an ugly game. This will be a low-scoring game. Neither team's that good, but I'll take the Dolphin defense. Dolphins 17, Colts 13. The final.
Penny's going Indy in this one. Underdog is 12-2 last 14 games in this matchup.
Mr. Luciano writes in, he says, the Parrot got run over. Yeah. All right. How dare you rip Roscoe the Parrot? Shame on you. Falcons Go says David seems busy. David, now, because he's at Starbucks, if you just turned on Benny versus the Penny, this is live coverage. I give you credit, Gascon. When you sent me a message this morning It was my morning, and when you said your power went out, I said, that's it. There's no Benny versus the penny. But you actually found a Starbucks location. So I give you credit for
Well,
hustle. It's a
do you
good
want
job by you.
well, do you want the dumbest part of this story? Is that
Sure.
the power is out in my area, and the Starbucks I'm at is right down the street, like less than a quarter of a mile away. So
Yeah.
it's the dumbest thing ever, but whatever.
Well,
So
is this like my favorite power outage story involves the Baltimore Orioles and the Seattle Mariners when Cal Ripken's streak was going to end and they
right.
turned out the power at Camden Yards? It's one of the all-time great conspiracy theories. I believe it. I actually was covering baseball at that time, and I had somebody tell me that is what happened that night. The same night, that story, somebody had given me a version of that story, so I absolutely buy it. I've believed it ever since. Alf, the alien opiner, says Carson Wentz is captain of the sinking ship. Well, actually, I think that's not. Let me touch up your work, Alf. Carson Wentz is actually the horse headed to the glue factory. He's on the saddle, leading the horse to the glue factory. Is that a better analogy?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn
Rich
good.
says pay your electric. Rich says pay your electric bill, Gagon.
Yeah, just imagine an entire city being shut down, and yeah, it's me that's not paying my power. What another idiot.
Flunky Flashman says I knew Gascon was a giant douche, but come on, a Starbucks. There you go.
Yeah.
So not a fan of you going to the Starbucks.
Can you imagine another location that has free internet and actually like decent power? I knew Funky Flashman was able to at least type out a couple words, but holy hell, you an imbecile too, or what?
All right. Let's go. I have a 5-star pick. I went 2-0 on my 5-star picks last week. Another 5-star pick this week.
And I think the week before, I think you hit at least one of them. You might have hit both of those too.
Yeah, I think I went 1-1 that week. So yeah, so we're doing better here as the season goes on. So Carolina 3-0 at Dallas, 2-1. It's on Fox. Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olson have the call. This is a 5-star pick of the weekend. Cowboys opened up a 5.5-point favorite. They're currently favored by 4 to 4.5. I got 4.5 on this game. Mostly cloudy in the 70s at Jerry's World in Texas. I am taking my 5-star pick. The Carolina Panthers are the pick in this game. I am going with the confidence I have in Carolina's defense. Defense travels well, and they will throw a speed bump at Dakota Prescott with that secondary. I know Carolina did lose one of their key defensive players last week, but the Panthers have been able to clamp down on both pass and run. And even though you can question some of Carolina's schedule, they did get a legitimate notch in their belt. They contained Alvin Kamara, and the Saints shut him down. And even without Christian McCaffrey, who is everything for the Panthers, if you've watched, I mean, the guy's all everything, Mr. Fantasy Football. I expect Chuba Hubbard, a former Oklahoma State Cowboy, to flex, to strut, and to be one of the stories we're talking about on a Monday. This guy's going to play well. And I also like the coaching matchup. Carolina's Matt Rule, a better coach than Mike McCarthy. The Panthers are 5-0 against the spread their last 5 games on the road. Cowboys, though, also have been playing well. They're 6-1 against the spread. Something is going to give here. And I say that Carolina will be standing atop the hill when this is all done. Now, I am scared. I'm not going to lie to you. Sam Darnold, I don't like to put money on Sam Darnold. But the Cowboy defense is at their very best middling. People are getting too worked up because they beat up a bad Philadelphia team. But I am confident that Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator there in Carolina, will be able to draw up plays where Sam Darnold, he'll have a little bit of time, and he can just sling the ball out to Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, and occasionally mix in the tight end there. Carolina 8-1 against the spread on the road since the start of last season. I mentioned 5-0. Their last 5 on the road. Best road cover percentage in the NFL. You're getting over a field goal and an inflated Cowboy team. Panthers 33, Cowboys 27.
Penny's also taking Carolina in this one. Going with the road team.
All right, just Josh. He's a Cowboy guy. He says, even though he's in Cincinnati, why would you be a Bengals fan? He says the Cowboys going to be amped up for this. The train stays on the tracks this week. Choo choo. That's according to
It.
just Josh. Yeah. All right. So again, that's the 5-star pick. Carolina will go to 4-0. They'll win the game outright. Next up for us, we keep our train moving. The New York Giants 0-3 at New Orleans. 2-1. It's on Fox. Friend of the Maller Militia, Kenny Albert. Jonathan Vilma have the call on Fox. The Saints opened a 6.5-point favorite. They're a 7-point favorite in most places. 7-point favorite. It actually was up to 8 at one point, but it's a 7 right now at the Superdome in the Bayou. And the weather doesn't matter because it's indoors. And the pick is in Giants, Giants. I'm taking the Giants. And this is a put your neck out type of pick. The Saints have gone from perfect against the Packers to lousy against Carolina to perfect against the Patriots. So I assume it's back to garbage this week unless it's not. But the Giants, if you look at recent years, they haven't won many games. They're one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the NFL. But in gambling parlance, they've been a very good bet when they've traveled. When they've had planes, trains, and automobiles, it has gone very well if you've bet on the Giants. And they've had a couple of different coaches, but the last 24 games on the road, so this goes back several years, the Giants are 19-5 against the spread. 19-5 against the spread over the last 24 on the road. So that's a good trend. That tells you what has happened, not what's going to happen. But the main reason to be skeptical here is Jameis Winston. And while I am pulling for Jameis Winston, and I believe Jameis Winston will be fine, there's something going on with the Saints. Sean Payton has been playing hide the quarterback on offense. And you can only get away with that for so long. Jameis Winston has thrown the fewest passes of any quarterback that has started the first 3 weeks of the season. He's only got 63 pass attempts. That's it. And you think of Jameis Winston, you think of a run-pass option as a something that should be in the toolbox there for the Saints. And only one, according to the advanced statistics here, the Saints have run one run-pass option with Jameis Winston. When he has thrown, it's been a lot of play action. It's run. And Alvin Kamara statistically hasn't been all that good compared to the expectation level. But Jameis Winston, check this out. I dug up this stat. Jameis Winston has never been favored by 8 or more in his career. So he's not favored by 8 or more here. He briefly was. There was a line at 8. He has been favored by a touchdown one time in his career. That was back in 2017 with the Buccaneers, and Tampa did cover that spread. But overall, as a favorite, Jameis Winston quarterback teams have been favored 21 times, and they have a 11-10 record, one game above 500. So even though Danny Dimes is not even worth a dime for the Giants, I am still going to take the Giants to cover. That's too many points. I don't trust that the Saints will come out with the same gusto they did. They were embarrassed against Carolina. They came back, wanted to make a statement against the Patriots. Saints will win the game, but they will not cover the spread. Saints 30, Giants 26.
Penny's going with the Saints. Giants are winless last 4 at New Orleans, so keep that trend continuing with the Penny.
Well, they can lose the game, but just stay within the margin. Somewhere in flyover country, I like that name on the YouTube chat, says Jameis Winston plays good, then bad, typically as well. So just Josh's bad Jameis this weekend. And also they're saying Service Academy offense.
And who was worse last week, though, the Giants or the Jets? Giants were god-awful last week.
No, but the Giants, at least they had a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter. The Jets, that game was over. That game was over. The Falcons won on a field goal last week in the fourth quarter. It was a field goal game. So, all right, next up, Kansas City, a losing record, a last-place team at 1-2 at Philadelphia. 1-2. It's on CBS with Ian Eagle and Charles Davis. Now, the Chiefs opened a 6.5-point road favorite. They are favored by 5.5 at Lincoln Financial Field. The link in the land that gave us the great Tony Bruno, sports talk radio legend, friend of mine, the great Tony Bruno. Sunny in the low 70s at kickoff. So it's early October. That weather will change by the end of October. By Halloween, it's going to be a much different experience. Now, I was looking at this game originally. I was like, I'm going to make this a 5-star pick, but I didn't, and I'll tell you why in a second. But I am going to take the Chiefs in this game. And originally I was like, well, this is easy. Philadelphia sucks. Kansas City's good. But the Chiefs have had a very difficult time here winning games and covering large point spreads. It has not gone well for Kansas City. I have a stat here. I'm going to try to get the stat up. They said there would be no stats, Gascon, but I think it's the last 12 games Kansas City has played. And I'm doing this off the top of my head. They have not been able to cover. They've only won one game by 6 or more points. So this is right around that number. It's right around that number. So, I mean, there's other factors involved in this, but I can't find the stat. I don't know where it is. But anyway, I'm going to take the Chiefs, but I'm not making it a 5-star pick. The Chiefs are in panic mode. They brought in Josh Gordon. He's not going to play in this game. Defense is ranked 30th. Self-inflicted wounds all over the place. Fumble here, interception there, bad penalty, which you could debate whether it should be called or not, or it was called. This game looks like the perfect elixir for the Chiefs. But on second glance and third glance, I'm going to pick Kansas City, but I'm not going to put all of my marbles here. The Eagles have a bunch of injuries. They have an inferior quarterback who's flushing the season away like a douche or a deuce. And Philly, they could be without 3 starting linemen. Football, as my coach told me when I was playing on the offensive line, football is won in the trenches. They don't have much on the trenches here. But Kansas City, you look at all that firepower, Kansas City should win this game by at least 10 points. I think they will, but I'm not making it a 5-star pick because of the turnovers and the penalties. Those are the great equalizers when you lay a road favorite. But I will take the Chiefs anyway. Chiefs 40, Eagles 23. That's what should happen at Lincoln Financial Field.
Penny's going Kansas City. Here, you want some wild numbers in this game? Kansas City on grass is 1-11 in their last 12 against the spread, playing on grass. And in their last 14 against the spread, Kansas City is 2-12. Those are some wild numbers against the spread. They've been awful against the line.
Yeah, well, they had been so good for so long, right? They had been amazing against the spread, and now they've gone completely the opposite. They've just fallen off the map.
Hey, side note,
comes at you fast.
Speaking of falling off the map, can we hope the Mariners fall off the map in the American League? Holy hell.
No, don't you want to see Robbie get all excited and then see them lose the wild card game? After 20 years, they make the playoffs, and then they're out in one game? You don't want to see that?
No, I do not. Not even Major League Baseball wants to see that.
I have the stat. We'd like to alert all the people watching, all 12 of you. We have the stat here. Let me find it. All right. Kansas City, last 14 games, going back to last season, the Chiefs are 2-12 against the spread, including the playoffs, and they've only won one game in that time by more than 6 points. So that's it. Last 14 games, including the postseason.
I just said that to you. I
wasn't listening. In my defense, I wasn't listening. So anyway, all right. Next up, Houston 1-2 at Buffalo 2-1. It's on CBS. I know you'll be watching this game with bated breath. Beth Mowins and Tiki Barber have the call for 3 people that will be watching this game. They're all relatives of Buffalo Bills players. The Bills opened a 16.5-point favorite in this game at what they're calling Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York, formerly Ralph Wilson Stadium. Bills are a 17.5-point favorite. 17.5-point favorite in this game. That is a college point spread, cloudy and in the 60s in western upstate New York. I am taking the Texans in this game. Now, I'm not actually going to bet the game, but if I were to bet the game, I am going to take Buffalo. Buffalo will not, or I'm going to take the Texans rather. Buffalo will not be fired up. They're coming off back-to-back blowout wins, and they have shown against the Chiefs. They have a showdown coming up with the Chiefs next week, so that's looming. That's in the near future on the horizon here. And historically, if you can get over 2 touchdowns, you're in pretty good shape. You got to keep in mind here. Now, the Bills Mafia, they're all excited. They beat up Taylor Heineke. They think they're going to beat up Davis Mills, who stinks, who was overmatched in his first start. We saw that Thursday night game against Carolina and their defense. Now, again, I'm not betting this game, but if I did, and we have to pick every game on Benny versus the Penny, I'm going to take the Texans, and I'm going to need special teams breakdown for Buffalo. I'm going to need a Buffalo turnover deep inside their own territory, short field for the Texans. I'm going to need that. The Texans are a one-man team. Here's a fun fact. This guy, Brandon Cooks, who played for the Patriots, the Saints, the Rams, he's bounced all over the place. Brandon Cooks is responsible for 39.7% of the Houston Texans' receptions, almost 40% of their receiving yards, both of those the highest shares of any player in the NFL this season. But you're getting 17.5 points. Buffalo Bills 34, Texans 17, the final.
A lot of chalk. Penny's going with Buffalo, though.
Mr. Luciano writes in, he wants to talk baseball. This is Benny versus the Penny. You see that logo right there? That's an NFL logo. That's not a baseball logo. That's an NFL logo. Bad job by you. All right? Bad job by you, Mr. Luciano. Queen Roxanne says even Deshaun Watson doesn't want Philexis touching him. Wow. How about Queen Roxanne taking pot shots at Philexis? I don't think Philexis is not in the chat. I don't believe her.
Hopefully
Crazy
not.
caller from Buffalo. All right, next up, the late games. Arizona 3-0 at the LA Rams 3-0 on CBS. My old colleague at Fox Sports Radio, Chris Myers and Daryl Moose Johnson have the call. And I was debating whether or not to go to this game, but you know what? Getting out of SoFi Stadium, it was a beautiful stadium. I loved it. I hope you heard the podcast we had. Our guy, TJ Reeves, my guy, Buccaneer broadcaster, we had him on the 5th Hour podcast today. Download that. And we were telling stories about SoFi Stadium. But if I went to this game, I would miss at least the first half of the Patriot-Buck game. And I don't want to miss the first half of the Patriot-Buck game. I want to lock in on that. So I am going to forego watching Alligator Arms Murray take it in the shorts, the little shorts, against the Rams. The Rams opened up a 4.5-point favorite. They are favored by 3.5. And it'll be 79 degrees or so at kickoff. It's a dome, but it's an indoor-outdoor dome. It's outdoor living with a roof on your head. I'm taking the Rams in this game. You can ram it all day. You can ram it all night. Matthew Stafford, the NFL's second-rated quarterback this season. The Rams have been playing error-free football. This is everything we thought the Rams would be. It's a winning recipe. Sean McVay has this team clicking. Now, this is a weird spot, and I am a little scared to make this. I didn't make this a 5-star pick, and I'll tell you why. I believe the Rams win the game. I believe the Rams cover the spread. But I always look at the mental side of gambling. I try to look at that stuff, who's motivated, where the motivation is. Are you going to be overlooking an opponent? And this is that kind of a spot. If you look at the tendencies as a gambler, the Rams coming off their Super Bowl win over Tom Brady, signature win for Matthew Stafford. And, who gets up to play Kyler Murray? Nobody. It's a letdown situation. And the Rams play the Thursday night game next week in Week 5. The Rams kick off the festivities against Seattle, and that's a road game in Seattle. So all of those elements, all of those factors in play here. And so that's not great for the Rams. But if you look at the head-to-head matchup, the Rams, who's your daddy for the Arizona Cardinals? Who's your daddy for Kyler Murray? That would be the LA Rams. The Rams, since Kyler Murray took over, Kyler's 0-4 against the Rams. He's got 5 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions. And we'll see what he does in this game. But Sean McVay, going back even further, is 8-0 against the spread against Arizona in his career. And he did that in the Jared Goff era. Now he's got a legitimate big-time quarterback in Matthew Stafford who's putting up MVP numbers this season. So the only thing that gives me pause is the fact that this is a bit of a sandwich game, even though it's a divisional game, as I said, because you got big win last week against the Bucs and a big matchup against Seattle next week. But Rams are so much better than the little pint-sized quarterback, alligator arms. Murray, Rams 38, Cardinals 24.
Penny's taking the Rams.
Even the penny does not believe in alligator arms, Murray. There you go. Tommy says he wants to be in the background of Dave's stream. Can you give out the location of the Starbucks so some of the listeners can go by and see you?
Yeah, no? I can. I could, but I'd rather
you
not.
You could, but you're not going to. All right.
The female,
Reverend Ray
the female audience is not around.
Reverend Ray wants the Baba Ganoush. Yeah. Well, maybe Queen Roxanne. Maybe she'll get in her teleport machine and she'll go out and hang out with you.
She's in Colorado.
No? I said she could get in her teleport machine and say, "Beam me up, Scotty," and then she'll end up down in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, would be kind of nice.
All right, next up for us, we have Seattle. We mentioned the Seahawks and 49ers. This game in the Bay Area, the Santa Clara / San Francisco 49ers. It's on CBS with Adam Amin and Mark Schlereth on the call. The Niners opened up a 3.5-point favorite. They're a 3-point favorite. Sunny and 81 degrees at kickoff at Levi's Stadium. Now, this matchup gives me bad vibes because the Seahawks and 49ers, that was the matchup. It was in Seattle, though, when the Seattle Seahawks publicity department would not allow me to attend the game. They banned me from attending, so I was standing outside, whatever they call the stadium. Now they changed the name of it, in Seattle with a bunch of Maller militia foot soldiers. But we were not allowed inside. I was not. Some of the guys had tickets, but I couldn't get in. Not that I've held a grudge against Seattle. I've not. I've been fair. But anyway, it's going to be in the 80s at Levi's Stadium. I'm going to take Seattle in this game. I am. The Seahawks are supposed to be getting some of their offensive linemen back this week. Russell Wilson, having seen that 49er secondary last week, Russell Wilson will gorge on that warm sourdough bread secondary for the Niners. And you love betting on Russell Wilson following a loss. It didn't work out last week, but even with the loss last week, against the spread, Russell Wilson, 25-13. That's a .658 winning percentage in his career following a defeat. That's against the spread since his second year in the NFL. And if you go back here, Seattle, when the line is in this area, when Seattle is either within a minus 3-point situation or a plus 3-point situation, the Seahawks are 14-7-2 against the spread. Very good in this situation. And I believe there'll be a hangover situation for the Niners. They gagged that game away. How do you lose a game? 36 seconds left. We went through all the different things the Niners coulda, shoulda, woulda done. And if they had done those things, they would have won the game, including kicking off inbounds to take some more time off the clock, running down the play clock. Kyle Shanahan completely botched that. And Shanahan, the Niners' favorite in this game. Remember, great stat here. Kyle Shanahan, in his career in the Bay Area, as a favorite, he is 8-18-2. 8-18-2 against the spread as a favorite. But as a home favorite, it's even worse. He's 3-13-2. That's a 188 against the spread winning percentage as a favorite. Seattle all day and all night. Seahawks 27 and the 49ers 23.
Penny's going San Francisco in this one.
All right, so we're hanging out in the Brick House here. I'm in the Brick House. Gascon's at a Starbucks. If you're new, I see some new people that have joined the live feed, but it doesn't matter whether you're watching live or you're on tape. Thumbs up. We need the old thumbs up. In fact, 2 thumbs up would be great. And tell a friend. This is not under the corporate umbrella, as you can see. Otherwise, we wouldn't have Gascon at a Starbucks. So we're doing this out of pure love. Pure love. Is that right, Gascon, or is it actually because we want to sell this to become a TV show?
Well, yeah, not this package though.
So this will not make the sizzle reel that we send out to television networks. This is not going to make it. No,
maybe just the audio portion of it. Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on. I pulled out the green screen and everything, man. I'm all professional here. I got the green screen going on. I got good lighting.
You do.
I look marvelous this week. I'm going to do a West of the 405 Gascon thing. This is, and I think I sound okay. People haven't been complaining. Alf the Alien Opinus says, "Where's Bella?" Bella is still at her doggy grandma's house, the Maller Mansion covered in glass. Bella should return, we hope, within the next 10 days. Bella will make her triumphant return to the Maller Mansion. All right, next. Yes, Jessica?
I was going to say, as you see that clock right smack dab in the middle, this is your game of the week. And
this is my second game of the week. Yes, that is correct. Baltimore 2-1 at Denver 3-0. It's on CBS with Andrew Catalan and James Lofton on the call. Now, the Ravens originally were favored. The early line, Baltimore favored by 1.5 on the road. Broncos are a 1-point favorite. Temperatures in the 60s at Empower Field at Mile High. And my 5-star second pick of the week, I'm going with the Broncos. Here. Now, originally I was like everyone else, like, Denver, we don't know what this team is. They're the only team in the NFL that has yet to play a legitimate opponent. They've also done something they haven't done in a long time here this year. Denver, last season, every game they were an underdog. Every game Denver was an underdog. The Broncos have now been favored in every game this season. But it's like a college team. It reminds me of a college team that plays a bunch of nobodies early in the year, and you don't really know how good they are until they finally play a legitimate opponent. And the Ravens are a legitimate opponent, obviously, much better than the slop, the Giants, Jags, and Jets, who Denver has played up until this point. But I'm a believer. I buy into the Bronco defense here, and I saw the Ravens have a stinker last week, and they got an emotional win because of a field goal that should not have counted, that did count against the Detroit Lions. They also get some starters back on defense, at least in theory. But what's going on with Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson, he's got a bad back, and while it's likely he will play in this game, you put a guy out there with a bad back against the Vic Fangio defense, and good luck. Good luck on that. The Broncos have been doing everything they want at this point. As far as on offense, you want slow, methodical drives, matriculating the ball down the field. Denver is playing at the slowest pace in the NFL. They run a play every 31.9 seconds. They run that play clock down more than anybody, and they control the time of possession. And I just love betting on Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater 37-13 against the spread as a starter. That's a 740 winning percentage, and 15-7 against the spread as a favorite. So I got the Bronco defense. I've got Teddy Bridgewater. And this is a big spot for Denver to prove that they are not frauds. Broncos 30, Ravens 20. Denver goes to 4-0.
Penny following you at Denver in this one.
All right. Queen Roxanne is upset. She says, I have cursed the Broncos.
Now, you want a random story real quick? We have.
I love random stories.
We have 10 minutes on the clock, and you told me to put a location of where I am at right now at a Starbucks so people can visit me.
Yeah.
Tommy came off the chat, and he's here at Starbucks right now.
Yeah, really? Put him on camera. Hold on, let's see here.
He's getting his drink right now. So.
Oh, come on. We got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We got 10 minutes. All right. He must
random.
live west of the 405 then.
Nah,
Was he a roommate or something?
No, it's not a roommate, but it's close proximity to everything. So, kind of random.
All right. Moving on. Pittsburgh at Green Bay. It's on CBS with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. This is a big game of the week. The Packers opened up a 6.5-point favorite. They are favored by 6.5. These are two iconic franchises, two national fan bases, the Steelers and the Packers. Light rain, temperatures in the 60s at kickoff at Lambeau Field. I'm going to take the Steelers in this game. I like Pittsburgh. I don't like Ben Roethlisberger. I hate their offense. Roethlisberger is old. He's slow. He's got a fettuccine Alfredo arm. He's Charlie check down, 30th in intended air yards per attempt at 6.9. Roethlisberger, though, historically, when he's been good in the past, when he was younger, as an underdog of 6 or more points, this is just the 9th time in his career that he's been an underdog of that much. But traditionally, a Mike Tomlin coach team coming off a bad performance and then as an underdog is a winning formula. Mike Tomlin, as a 6-point or more underdog, his teams in Pittsburgh are 9-3-1. That's a 750 winning percentage for Mike Tomlin when getting 6 or more points. And the Packers are, to me, still shaky. Aaron Rodgers likes to brag about how the haters can't find anything to point at. Well, I found something. He's 41st in percentage of poor throws. A lot of bad throws by Aaron Rodgers. In fact, per pass attempt, 22.6% of Aaron Rodgers' tosses have been bad. So almost 1 out of every 4 throws has been bad for Rodgers. And in the second half against the Niners, he was shaky right up until the final 36 seconds of the game. And so everyone is supposed to forget about that because the Packers won the game. But if you look at the situation here, a gift from Green Bay, from the 49ers to Green Bay last week. The Lions were leading at halftime of the game at Lambeau the week before, and it wasn't until late third quarter that Green Bay took control of that game. So I'm going to need the Steeler defense to play great here. I'm going to need Aaron Rodgers to be a little sloppy. A fumble, special teams touchdown. It's pretty much the formula that Pittsburgh used in week 1 to upset Buffalo. The Steelers have to do that here. I believe they will be able to pull it off. Low-scoring game. Packers 24, Steelers 20, Pittsburgh.
Penny going with Green Bay in this one. Going with the Pack.
All right. Jesse says, hey, David, how did you get Rob Lowe to fill in for Ben this week? Well, I do look. I have the matinee idol Rob Lowe look. Is Rob Lowe the only one allowed to wear this hat? It's a good hat. I like the hat.
Yeah, I mean, he pulls it off a little bit better.
No, I think I pull it off well. I even trimmed my gray beard. I trimmed it a little bit. Anyway, it's like salt and pepper now. If I trim it, it's salt and pepper. If I let it grow, it's disgusting. Anyway, next up for us on Benny versus the Penny. This is the big one. Tampa Bay 2-1 at New England 1-2 on Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth. My favorite thing about this game is it means I will no longer have to do daily Belichick/Brady monologues. I know just Josh in Cincinnati and some of the guys were busting my balls about that, but play the hits, my man, play the hits. And so we were playing the hits. The Buccaneers opened a 5.5-point road favorite. Tampa is favored by 6 in this game as it's early October and the weather in Foxborough, Gillette Stadium, mostly cloudy, 55 degrees. Now, this is a game, originally when I handicapped it, I was like everyone else. I was going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a route, but I have changed my position, and I am taking the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots are the team that I am picking in this game. Now, I mentioned that I was on Tampa Bay originally. I started crunching the numbers, and then I went deeper and deeper down the garden path. And I started, looking around, and I you know what? I got to flip-flop. I got to do a U-turn here. The public has loaded up on the Buccaneers. This is going to be one of the most wagered regular season games of all time, if not the most bet regular season game of all time. And almost everyone and their mother is betting on Tom Brady and that express train, choo-choo, to keep going down the tracks. And I love to bet against the public. It's dumb money most of the time. The sharp bettors are actually on the Patriots in this game. Now, I'm not sure how the Patriots are going to be able to keep this game close. You might need a backdoor cover, but I do realize Bill Belichick knows exactly what Tom Brady wants to do. And does that mean that the Patriot defenders can get there and slow Brady down? Well, that's up for interpretation. But I saw Tampa last week. Their secondary is so bad. It's so bad that they signed Richard Sherman out of the criminal justice system in Washington State to be the savior. And I just read that he's going to be active. It looks like he's going to play this week. They're not going to sit him out for a week and then put him out. From what I read, he's going to play on Sunday night, which is wild to me. That's how desperate Bruce Arians is for help in that secondary. Mac Jones, he had a stinker last week. If you have a stinker, you got to come back and play better here. There are some weaknesses in that Tampa Bay defense. That's not a championship defense this year right now. So you have the backdoor cover as a possibility. I'm betting against the public, and I am betting on the wise guys, the sharps, who are betting on New England. You're getting a Belichick team at home getting 6 points. And to give you an idea about how rare this is, Gascon, in the Sunday night game, you think about the Patriot dynasty and how great this team has been. This is just, since the year 2000, the 19th time that the New England Patriots have been home underdogs. So you're going back 20 years, and it's like once a year, and some years didn't happen at all. And so I am taking, again, the Patriots to cover, but I'll take the Bucs to win it on a last-second classic Tom Brady field goal drive. Buccaneers 30, Patriots 27. Ryan Suckup, the hero.
Penny's taking Tampa Bay in this one, going with the Buccaneers. Two
All
and
right.
change on a hard out. This is exciting.
One more game, Gascon. Have we not? Listen, I'm on time, Maller. I have timed this perfect.
Well, we'll see.
I'm patting myself on the back. Patting myself on the back. All right. Next up for us, the last game, Monday Night Football. Las Vegas 3-0. The LA Chargers 2-1 on ESPN. Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, Louis Riddick. No Manning cast. You expect the Manning brothers to work an entire month in a row? Are you kidding me? They can't do that. Anyway, the Chargers opened up a 3-point favorite. It's really a road game for the Chargers because Raider Nation, there's more Raider fans in LA than Charger fans at this point. Chargers a 3.5-point favorite. SoFi Stadium, the site, beautiful stadium. And if you have a chance to get there, check that out. That is a palace, Taj Mahal. And it is east of the 405. I would like to point that out. Anyway, I will take the Raiders in this game. The Chargers are coming off an impressive win at Arrowhead. Big win. Everyone's kissing their tuchus here. And now they come back to play the Raiders. Chargers have been a terrible bet at home in the LA era. They're 5-15-1 against the spread as home favorites since the start of the 2018 season. Justin Herbert is 3-5 against the spread as a home favorite in his brief career here. And Derek Carr, we're still waiting for the glass slipper to crack. He hasn't been flummoxed by anybody. He's putting up MVP numbers. We say that continues here, but the Raiders will lose this game, but they will cover the spread. Chargers 27, Raiders 26, and with less than a minute to go, clock running, no timeouts. Wow. David Gascon, the penny will pick.
Penny's taking the Bolts in a road game in this one.
All right. Outstanding. Just Josh is waiting for Starbucks security to come out of the corner of the screen.
There you go. There's Tommy in that corner right there. You can't see it because the
I can't
blur,
see
but
Tom. Tommy, you got to get close to the camera, Tommy. You got to get
There you
close to
go.
it.
Got
There
get
you
close to
I see the
mug.
shadow. You're like the shadow person, Tom. Hi, Tommy. What's going on? All right. Anyway, listen, thank you. Good job by you, Gascon. Perseverance. I'm proud of you, Gascon. Yeah, hustle. Good job by you. And download the podcast. 5 stars, thumbs up on this, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Wonderful time.